Afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, June 10th, 2024, and so far I'm 50 pounds down, 34 of those being from Zepbound, and I decided today that I need to start a vlog to capture this a little bit better. Instagram is really hard for me. Some of you may know I'm already on Instagram right now, been capturing it for a couple months over there as C-Ins-Go, but it's really tough to get everything I'm looking to capture in 90 seconds or less. I'm always long-winded, so it's especially hard to kind of keep track of what I've been doing in that time frame. So I'm not sure I'll be doing this very often, but I did want to have a format that I can share more detailed information about what I'm experiencing, kind of capture my symptoms, really just doing this for me, but also to share with anybody else who would like that information, or other people who are on the same journey and just looking for community and company along the way. Now, I started Zepbound in January. My first shot was January 9th, 2024, and honestly, I felt the effects fairly immediately. I remember, so I take it at night. One of my friends had advised me that that's what she does, and I thought that was great advice. So I started off by taking it at night, and I maintained that for the past 20 weeks. I felt the effects of it fairly immediately. The starter dose, the first month you go on a starter dose to kind of get your body adjusted to being on these medications. And when I did it, it wasn't like I was losing a large amount of weight immediately, but I could definitely tell that my thought process when it came to food had been starting to change, and I wasn't as fixated on food as I was before I started this journey. So that was huge. Something important to note about my specific journey in this process is that I have always been overweight my whole life. I can still remember from when I was 8 years old and people telling me how I needed to lose weight, I needed to work out more, I needed to stop eating as much. People really paying a lot of attention of what I was doing, and why was I not able to be in the same shape as my friends my own age. So weight has been such a conversation and such a stressor for me my whole life. But I kind of just accepted it as that's just what my life would be like forever. I've had moments of success for various random reasons, whether, life at that time just involved more physical activity and didn't give me as many opportunities to be able to eat, to having 2 kids and going, during COVID, the amount of weight gain from there. The biggest thing is that whenever I gained weight, I just could not sustainably keep it off. So, in March of 2023, I got on the scale and it told me 300. And I felt lost. I felt like I didn't know what to do. It's not that I thought I was eating well during this time period. I was just 5 or 6 months postpartum from my youngest son. But I felt helpless. I felt like I wasn't eating in a way that would make me understand where those 300 pounds came from. Sure, I like my desserts and I ate some carbs, but 300 pounds, I don't know. A lot of my adult life, I had been chasing getting down under 200, so all of a sudden felt like a crisis that I went up 100 more pounds in the blink of what felt like a blink of an eye. So I had decided, I spoke with my husband, we decided that it's time to consider weight loss surgery. I didn't know what other choice I could do at this point. So this was, again, March of 2023, and I had my physical around that time frame where I shared my concerns that I just am not finding a way to do this myself, even though I've been trying. I've gone through so many different programs, including things through the doctor's office as well. Nothing felt like it was working. By the time I went, these weight loss medications, semaglutides and trizepatides, had started reaching the market, and I didn't really know much about it. At this point, trizepatide was not approved yet by the FDA, but it was in the process of being reviewed by them, so up and coming. And when she shared that with me, she said, before you decide about weight loss surgery, because that was our topic of conversation in 2019, before I had kids, she said, you're having a hard time losing this weight, we may need to come up with a more extreme solution, maybe something like weight loss surgery. So when I went back in 2023, I was re-engaging in that conversation, because in 2019 I wanted to have my children first. I didn't want to go through major surgery before I knew I had the children I wanted to have. So more time, more weight to gain, and more weight that I just could not lose. She suggested that I go through a weight loss clinic, essentially. Really, it's just the same. It's the same medical practice. They had a designated office that's dealt with the endocrinology group, along with nutritionists and behavioral therapists. And the idea was you'd work together with these 3 components for your health. They'd run blood work, and they'd kind of put you through a program where you're checking in very regularly to see how you're doing. So for 3 months, I had at least monthly, sometimes twice a month, check-ins with the nutritionist. I had a couple of sessions with the behavioral therapist where the biggest thing I took away was they helped me come up with small changes that built up over time. Anytime I've tried to do weight loss plans in the past, it's always been a quick, let's just change everything at once. Let's go hit the gym for an hour. Let's go drop down my calories. I'm no longer having anything sweet to eat. Everything has to be perfect. And honestly, that's probably what my biggest mistake was in the past. Trying too much at once and just not being able to maintain it. So this is October through December. I'm kind of going through this program with them, getting their advice, changing my eating habits, and during the hardest time of the year, right around the holidays, right? So we're seeing Halloween, Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday, all of the other ones as well, Christmas, New Year's. And I'm around family, we have a lot of social events, and here I am working very hard to meet the goals that were set up through this program. So what the program had me do was every single meal I had required protein. That included my snacks, so I couldn't just have waffles in the morning. I needed to make sure that everything had protein. That was very hard. So they did a really good job of advising me to buy protein shakes and just leave it in the fridge. I was so stubborn about that. I'm like, if I want a protein shake, I'll just make it myself. I don't know why I would need to buy these ready-made plastic wasteful shakes. I was wrong, As a mom to 2 very young kids who's also working full-time and responsible for my share of the workload in the home, time is very limited. There were many times that in the early months, especially as I'm trying to transition here, I couldn't come up with a good meal option that would allow me to have healthy protein in it. So thankfully, they already made me go and get this protein shakes. So I was able to grab one and move on with my day, and really saw such a difference in my hunger control by significantly increasing my protein. There's also carb limitations. I was only allowed to have 30 grams of carbs for any of my 3 meals, and no more than 15 grams of carbs during my snacks. And I didn't need to eat all my carbs, but I definitely really realized how hungry I was if I try to just go no carb. So I definitely did my best to find healthy carbs to incorporate in with my meals. My first 3 months, I was exhausted. Trying to completely change your whole eating lifestyle, while also supporting different food habits of your husband and children, like toddlers. They're terrible. They do not eat anything. And here I am, like, completely changing the game on them. This is the best time to do it, but does not mean that was easy in any way. So I started doing a lot more meal prepping. We were always doing a lot of like large batch cooking and freezing, but now it was geared towards like always having protein ready on hand. Like even right now I'm sitting here getting ready to eat my lunch, and I have like already weighed out 3 ounces of chicken that was cooked a while ago and put in the freezer, and it's marked with 3 ounces and what seasoning I used. So today all I had to do was put together a nice salad, and I will pop it right in. It makes making those good choices so much easier, because a lot of times it just comes down to, I know what I should eat, but it would take me this much time to get it. I haven't thawed the meat. I haven't even bought the meat in my fridge, like whatever the circumstance was. Now, if I just make sure I have enough fresh produce, I know I can make something that would fit the nutritional needs that my body has. So that did not happen from the first day. There was 3 months of very, very stressful effort. I also wasn't telling a lot of my friends and family what I was doing. So I ended up really withdrawing from a lot of people in my life, just because my brain was working in overtime trying to figure out, how do I meet my nutritional goals? How do I get to this healthier lifestyle, targeting one meal at a time? I started with like breakfast, moved on to lunch, and then my final component was dinner, which is still a work in progress, mostly just because I have only a finite amount of meals that I make that fit the things I want, including my taste, which is very particular. But this whole process is such a growth experience. Like, I'm still learning to this day. I'm like 20 weeks into taking these medications, and I'm still learning to this day that what more I have to improve on. So like this last week, I realized that I hadn't really been capturing fiber very well in my diet, and I was avoiding some of the foods that are high fiber just because they also counted as carbs for the way I handle my meal. And if I'm to have carbs, I was trying to pick rice instead. But I'm trying to, rebalance that right now, switching over to add beans into my salad instead of rice. That way I get that fiber that I need. But it's a work in progress. This whole thing is a work in progress. Only in the past 2-3 weeks did I start incorporating exercise. I just didn't feel like I could any earlier. I was so busy trying to figure out how to eat that I didn't know how my brain could handle, when would I go and work out? Like, how does someone fit that into their life? I still don't have that answer. The way I currently fit it into my life is do it for lunch, do it on our lunch break. So it's been tough. It's been a tough ride. But I've put in a lot of work, and I know that I have so much more to go. So I wanted to take that time to like document where I am right now in this process, so that I can look back and see where I've come from, because I'm hoping that it just continues to get better. With Zepbound in the mix of things, like honestly, everything has just become a lot easier. So the first 3 months I didn't have medication to support making those healthier choices. Once the medication got incorporated, it became much easier to do what I was already doing. And that's something really important to know, because in December, when someone had brought in donuts to work, I would fixate on these donuts. I would just be like, Insia, do not go for those donuts. Those are not worth it. Think about those carbs. There's no protein in it, so you can't even fit it into what your plan is. No matter what, do not touch those donuts. And then I'd, just be thinking about that for the rest of the day. I'd be like, well, maybe I'll just go look and see. Maybe the donut I want isn't even there anymore, so I don't even have to worry about it. and then I'd walk over there and I'd see, oh no, this donut is still here. Okay, back to actively thinking about how I should not eat this donut. Now, I didn't eat the donut. I'm very proud of that. But at the same time, think about the amount of energy I spent in my day just trying to keep myself from eating that donut. With Zepbound, I'll see that donut and I'll say, oh, that's nice. It just doesn't fit into my health plan right now. And I'll walk away. And then I'll forget that that donut existed. And is that how the rest of you have been this whole time? Like, my mind is blown. If you haven't watched Oprah's special, the first one that she did on Ozempic, she shared something in the middle of her program where it said, I just realized that the rest of you aren't even thinking about food. It's not about willpower. It's just you're not thinking about food. And I sat there and I was shocked. I turned to my husband and I said, is that true? Do you not just think about food all day long? Like, is that really what happens? And he just kind of looked at me. He's like, yeah, do you always think about food? And I did. On Zepbound, I did. Before I got on Zepbound, I did. That's all I thought about. Just what was going to eat. Would there be enough food for me? Would it be something I like? Should I eat something before I go there? Should I bring something with me? Oh my gosh, why did I eat so much? Oh, I didn't really eat enough. I should eat some more. Like, it just really was a lot of my thoughts. So it makes sense I would be eating more when that's all I was thinking about. It wasn't all I was thinking about, but I was spending a lot of energy thinking about this. So starting this medication meant it cleared up some brain space. It cleared up some of that mental load that weighed on me. Of course, I'm still thinking about food, but in a different way. Like, what am I going to prep for the week that will provide the nutrients I need and my family needs to live this healthier lifestyle? But I'm even able to spend the time to figure out how to work in exercise. So right now I'm just walking. I've been walking mostly during lunchtime, as I mentioned, so it's about 20 to 30 minutes of time at best. I have done a couple of rounds of strength training, but I'm trying to start upping that up as well as a regular routine, mostly because of when you're on these medications, you are likely to lose a lot of muscle mass. I do my best to eat a ton of protein. I try to do as close to like 100 grams of protein a day, but that still means that like you still need to strength train in order to get the best results. So I'm working that in. I will see if I can incorporate that into this vlog process on the type of workouts that I'm starting at, maybe get advice from the rest of you on like some nice beginner options to do strength training. And I don't know, it's been quite a couple of months of, a year of this journey since considering what my options were to change my life. And that's the reality. I couldn't live the way I was living anymore. I just started to get more and more incapable of doing my basic needs, you know? And as I'm losing this weight, I can't believe like the things I can finally do again. Things like I cut my nails the other day without having to be like bent over like I was still pregnant. Like I was able to bend my legs in a way that I could more easily cut my nails. I still to this moment can't believe the difference that makes. The other things are such as like getting up and down off the floor. I'm not perfect, but I can at least do that. I can do that a little bit more easily than I was able to before. And just being able to be physically in motion more of the day versus needing to sit down and take breaks, you know, that's been huge relief. Also just able to walk here and there without losing my breath. Like honestly, it's really sad when I think back about how bad it got and how badly I needed a solution. And I'm so grateful that I started this journey. It has been very hard, very, very hard, but it is the most important journey of my life. You know, I'm honestly working to save my life here. So if you made it this far, thank you for listening to me and kind of do a recap on what the last couple of months have been like for me. I hope to see, I hope to find a way to capture what upcoming progress I have made and what my routine is kind of like moving forward. And yeah, I hope you all have a very healthy day, week, month, and let me know if there's anything you'd like to know more about. Thanks.